Ray, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
All right, good deal. Hey, it may just be the two of us today. I don't know if no one else replied.
Raisin. I don't think Ray is. Ray's in Orlando.
Yeah, I heard he's out of town. Okay.
Yeah, he's out of town, so probably is just the two of us today.
All right. Well, I did not make much stride in updating the original plan here, so it's running a little slow over the webinar. I was gonna kind of throw in some stuff, but I think I'll tweak it here after we get off. I pulled up the plans that you sent me. They look good. I didn't really have any comments on it unless you had something you wanted to.
Well, I do. That's why I didn't submit for permit this week. I don't know what happened to my other structural. I have some structural issues on it, and this guy that she ended up tagging some other friend, and he like over designed this thing like beyond belief. So the cost that if we were to build it for the cost that he had in there, and it was, they probably almost doubled our cost in there. I mean, he wanted to, instead of our holes being 4 foot deep, he made them 5 foot deep, and he put steel rebar in the holes and beefed up the post all 8x8s instead of 6x6s, and instead of doing just a double header on the trusses, he did a triple header, and I'm like going, that doesn't. The only change that they made that saved us money is originally it had a poured concrete foundation.
Okay.
And we went with block. Now, so the block will save us money on that. So that's definitely cheaper on that route. So we'll do that. So I have it out to another guy today. He's supposed to get me back stuff today. We're going to revise it this weekend and get it in for permit on Monday.
What type of cuts do you think will it just be the footers primarily that you think there'll be changes, or?
Yeah, what I'm going to end up doing here, if you give me access.
Yeah, I think you got it. Yep.
Do I got it? Yep, I do have it. Okay. So if we look here, and this one here, can I zoom in? Nope. Okay, here we go. All right, I see what I did now. Let's go back here. Go to here. So what the recommendations that I made on here are in this foundation here. You see he has the 30 inch 5 foot deep, 5 foot deep pier, with an 8 inch bottom. So how I'm changing that to is, I know by Union County standards, is what we'll end up doing is this will be the 8 inch will end up turning into a 1. This will go to 4. Instead of 5 feet, it'll go 4 feet deep. And then the 2 and the 6 inches, we'll shrink that to 2. And then all this vertical bars that he's got in here, those will all go away.
Okay.
We don't need them. And then he made the post 8x8s, and I'm like, well, we don't need 8x8 post.
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean, I don't know of a pavilion that I've been out to that has that. And then see here, and this is the change I've been trying to get approved, is see how he triple headered the trusses on top of there?
Yeah.
I don't know why we're doing that, when realistically we should take the 8x8 or 6x6, whichever we do. You run the post all the way up, and then what you end up doing is you take the headers and you put them on the side here, and you put them on the side here, then you carriage bolt straight through.
Yep. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
And then everything sits on it.
Okay.
So that was when I sent it out to my other guy to try to see if I could get something better. That was the recommendations I made to him. He has them as 2x10s, and I even changed them to 2x8, I changed them to 2x8s. But we might go back to 2x10s. But either way, I don't really care about that part. 2x8s, 2x10s doesn't matter. We're only spanning 8 feet, and you can go up to 12 feet with a 2x8. So I think we should be able to get away with 2x8s there.
Okay.
So those are the changes I'm doing, trying to save us some money on that one, because that's the parts I didn't like. And the other thing, just minor fixing this detail here, is that realistically our concrete floor here will actually pour up against the post. This won't stick up high, because we'll never get that to look nice and everything like that. So I have that red lined up. So that was it that her and I had talked about making changes to. So I sent up somebody else just to get a change on that. And you can see over here on this side where we went to all block.
Yeah, that looks good.
With a 1 foot footer. And I mean, I think that one's even done right.
Okay.
looking here.
Well, I know I sent you over what I had so far on the bid package last week, but I hadn't done any work on it as far as itemizing on-site versus or what
yeah,
they were
I have
doing versus us.
Yeah, I have a spreadsheet that I started
Okay.
that I think we'll switch to, because that's the whole thing, and I was kind of waiting for these drawings to go through it a little bit, but you realistically, let's go back up a sheet here. I mean, let's see here. So if we really look in here, I mean, what we really have is that how I have it broken down into is that I wrote myself a little cheat sheet here. So, I mean, we're realistically looking at, I'm just trying to look at the plans and saying, okay, who and what are we getting? What are we bidding on? I don't really, for the pavilion, I really don't think we're bidding a whole lot.
Right.
I just started looking at the plans and saying, okay, and my cost estimate in my spreadsheet here, I have, okay, in the bathrooms, we're going to need to have the grab bars, all that kind of stuff, the toilet paper container, the toilet paper container,
yep.
the wall heater, the mirror, the sinks, the toilets, the lighting.
Okay.
I kind of put the lighting in the, I have to decide. I don't know. We have to decide. That's some of the things I think we need to go through the plans and break it down. I mean, do we buy the lights ourselves? Do we, have the electrician pick up the lights? So I just went through like main things that we need to get, that we should get from other people.
Okay.
The gutters on the pavilion. I think I can get Josh Combs. He does seamless gutters. I think I can get him to do those dirt cheap for us.
Okay.
He'll do them cheap for us, and help us with that. Concrete, I got a good concrete guy that I just need to get the drawings over. I hear he's like awesome work, really cheap. The one job you bid on, somebody was saying, oh, he's going to screw me because he only bid like $28,000 for it, or no, it was $40,000 to do the job.
Okay.
And they ended up not using him. It cost them $70,000.
Wow.
Because they went with somebody else.
Yeah.
Masonry work for the bathrooms. We got Bud Hall to do those. So him and I will probably meet up next week in order to do that now that I have the drawings.
Okay.
Plumbing's going to be done by Corey Bunsel, who does all our plumbing. We tried to connect this week, but he's out of town the rest of the weekend, so him and I he's supposed to call us on Friday and set up an appointment to meet with him on Friday.
Okay.
I'm sorry, on Monday or Tuesday next week. So we'll meet with him in order to get him set up to start that. Electric, we need to bid. I don't have an electric guy to do that kind of stuff, so we'll need to have an electric guy bid. And then I have audio video. If we're going to do security cameras and that kind of stuff, we probably need to find somebody to do that for us.
Okay.
And then
do we want
the rest of the stuff of the pavilion.
We want to wait and line that stuff up after we've broke ground on the project, or do you want to do all that simultaneously?
Simultaneously. So we get this final set done, and then that's when we need to go. And I think, realistically for the electric, we'll go up to Eubanks and say, hey, here it is. I don't know of anybody else. They usually help us out. So
okay.
Go to them and say, hey, can you give us some numbers on this?
Do you think we'll stay within budget pretty well as far as what we had kind of laid out originally?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to really, we're going to stay in budget because we're going to be doing all the work, and
right.
Then once we turn this in, I think we need to take it to the same thing and take it to Lowe's and Home Depot and say, here you guys go. Here's what we need.
Perfect.
And just to be clear with them, we don't need the masonry, included, because they're going to want to try to provide us block, saying, hey, we've got that. We need all the wood items, all the sheeting, all the everything, the trusses, the roofing, no gutters, the post. We don't need the concrete for the holes, because we'll pour that concrete.
Sure.
We'll pour that, and
okay.
And everything along that line, and have them give us the numbers back to do the pavilion.
Well, I think
because we're going to install it ourselves.
Yeah, if we can just send the plan set that you have over to electrician and those, I mean, I can come up with a list of 3 local electricians if that's what you want to do, or if you want to. I
Yeah,
was going to say
absolutely.
I don't want to step on your toes, but whatever I can help with, if you want to just hit me
Well,
as
no, I agree. I think that's what we do. I just wanted to make sure you and I are on the same page, is that we're not sending this package to somebody and say, hey, build the whole thing for us.
yeah, and I think that's the way I'd
Because
originally.
don't want them to waste I don't want them to waste their time, because it's not worth us wasting our time, because we can do it a lot easier
Yeah,
and
and
cheaper.
we probably be more
You
likely to
know,
get some contribution or volunteered service if we got seeking just an electrician because they might look at it themselves as something they want to do pro bono or whatever, not necessarily charge us for. So I like it.
I doubt it.
Yeah,
I doubt it. They'll charge us for it, because there's panels involved and and all that kind of stuff.
okay.
So they'll end up, it'll. I don't think it's going to be free, but
Maybe if we pay for the stuff though, you think well, I got some guys we might want to lean on because I know there's some folks out there that love getting into government contracts. So if it's something that we can push to them as,
oh,
hey, this is a small project, but you'll be on our list.
it is. Yeah, exactly. It'll just be a timing will just be key,
Yeah.
into
Since we got some other stuff
getting.
going on at the park down the road, they obviously will take some interest in the idea that there might be some future work there too.
Yeah, it might be. So I mean, for us, I think there realistically be a thing that we need to be certain of is timing of getting the stuff done.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
you know.
No, that
So
sounds good. Well, keep me posted on which one specifically I can help with as far as seeking contractors. I know you got. Oh,
well, I think the only one we really need to, well, realistically, I think it's electric.
okay.
And maybe take care of the audio video.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking.
And I
Electrician.
think that's just trying to find somebody. We're trying to find somebody to just suggest. We know what we want to do.
Right.
We just need somebody to tell us this is what we should go with and this is what it's going to cost you. And we say, okay, yeah, that's worth it or it's not,
Okay.
and everything along that line.
I'll pull together some
So,
named electricians, and then at the same time, security. I know folks like Tattletale over in Westerville. Those companies, for exchange for putting up a sign or something, they may give us a pretty good steal on the security items too. So we could
okay,
we could put some feelers out, and it's obviously a public property that drives up some attention from those folks too.
okay. And that's fine, because I think those are the only ones that I can think of in the scope of the project that we need
Okay.
somebody to do with, and the big keys will be, the big keys on timing will be that's what I'm trying to get Corey started, is getting the water and sewer to the building, getting the masonry work done,
Okay.
and getting the electrical conduits to the building, and stuff, because that's the stuff that needs to go in before I can pour concrete or do anything else. We need to at least get the underground stuff there first,
Yeah.
and then we can get them, then they can rock and roll while at the same time we are,
Okay.
So
Sounds good. I got it
those are
submitted
keys.
to. I was gonna say I got it submitted to ODNR just for plan adoption. I don't think they're gonna care about the changes to the footers and stuff more than anything else, just making sure that it met the original expectations. So I
Right.
expect to hear back from them next week, but I think we'll be fine on it. Yeah, I started putting together the trail grant with Howard had mentioned maybe looking at some equipment. I don't know if we're going to get that paver. He had sent over kind of details on a paver today, but more maintenance equipment and stuff we might be able to go for as part of that trail grant. So if you have any ideas on things that we may need to help maintain that trail down the road, try to throw those into that 80/20 grant that we're going
Uh,
for.
oh, is that what he's trying to do? Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. Did he throw in the equipment, the spreader equipment, in order to put it in?
Yeah, I generally they the actual installation stuff they won't fund, but they'll fund maintenance. So if it's a brush for a
Okay.
piece of equipment to make sure it's free of leaves or snow, those they generally go for. But I haven't seen them go for the actual installation equipment.
Okay. While I was thinking about, well, technically you could use that installation equipment to retop it,
Yeah, that'd be nice.
and that
I,
and
I'll
that
throw.
and that kind of stuff. If they would go for that, I don't know if they would or not. But you
Yeah,
understand what I'm saying?
it's not too bad. I
Because
think
what you
he had a $45,000 piece of equipment he had priced. It's not too bad a price. It's just trying to show how that's an instant savings for them versus.
$45,000 piece of equipment.
Yeah,
What the heck is he doing? But did he put that asphalt thing on there?
Yeah, that's what it was. Is the front loader.
The front loader asphalt thing
Yeah, yep,
on there? Okay.
yeah. So
We're
I
not
told him
asphalting. We're
I
not asphalting it.
the trail.
Yeah.
Well, if we get the grant, we got to asphalt it because they'll want they'll want it to meet their rec trail standards, which will require the asphalt.
Instead of crushed limestone.
Yeah, they want well, we could it scores a little higher as scores a lot higher as asphalt because you can use it for
Well,
rollerblading and other things. You get
well, of course it scores. Of course it scores higher. It's
Yeah,
twice the cost, if not 3 times.
right. But that's part of what we'll have to. So I had spec'd it originally as asphalt. Do you think we should back it off as gravel?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Unless you go out and get, I wouldn't venture down either one of those lanes unless you go out and get an official proposal from that in order to make it asphalt versus concrete.
okay,
I mean versus the crushed limestone, because you're going to see your costs. Your costs are going to. I mean, heck, what was I looking at here? I mean, you're talking asphalt. What you were talking about here. I'm looking to see if I had the price still in here.
sure,
So I'm looking at the stone. Okay, let's put it to this way: the stone that we were putting in there will cost us about $10 to $12 a ton to do.
okay,
All right.
yep,
The cost of asphalt, I just got a quote on one today with what you're going to do. It's
sure.
$100 a ton.
Wow.
So that's 10 times as much money that's going to cost you.
But that's just the surface, right?
Yeah, that's just the surface.
Okay. Well, I know when we priced them before, a 10-foot wide gravel typically ran about $10 a foot for a good base, and then the asphalt was typically another 10 to 15 on top of that. So it did double the cost, but it definitely yeah, I could see that being a deterrent. Well, I have to,
Well, and here's my recommendation to you, Joe, and everything along that line, and how we're doing this, because we did not do the park grant and the basketball grant correctly.
okay,
We should have went out and got actual estimates and had everything done up front,
yeah,
so then we had those numbers to be sure.
I agree.
So if we're going to do the asphalt path, we need to send that out for bid, to people to actually put it in, install it, everything that you need first before we submit the grant, so we have real numbers.
Sure. Yeah, I like that. I was going to say, if we got time before April 1st, I'd love to.
I'm shocked those guys. I'm shocked that the ODNR grant people didn't make you, because if we do any of our public works grants,
Yeah,
that cost estimate has to be signed and sealed by an engineer.
right. Yeah, no, they typically they don't for the park grants because they know a lot of it's on the planning side, so they don't.
Well, it is. Yeah, it is. So, I mean, we need to send it out to somebody and say, hey, can you price this out for me?
Okay. Do you know any?
To make sure that we're right.
I was going to say, even with the guys that are doing the ADA and stuff, the concrete, do you know any guys that we could go ahead and get a quote on the trail being asphalt?
I probably could.
Okay.
I could send it out. I could send it out to a guy in order to have that happen.
Okay, because I was going to say most
But
of my
I guess
connections are Eastern Delaware, so
yeah.
if you got somebody
Well,
out,
mine are over here, so in Westerville. Yeah. So I mean, because I got a couple jobs out to a couple guys that will do a couple small time contractors that
okay.
do little jobs that I help them out with. But
sure,
I can do it. I just need to. Do you have what cross section they want us to use? How much?
yeah, it's a 10-foot wide asphalt trail. I'll pull up the standards because I know ODOT's.
So we have to go 10. So it has to be 10.
If we go to the
typically,
if we get the recreation.
Typically they're 8. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Typically they're 8. They're not 10s.
Yeah. Well, it all depends. So they it goes on what users you get. So the wider and the harder surface, the more different type of users we can get, and that usually scores higher. Right. So it is a matter of local preference, but at the same time, I'd love to score as high as we can. So, and it's an 80-20, so they're going to be covering the majority of that. And if we already have,
I understand that, but if we double our costs and get them to cover, I mean,
right.
You're kind of counter, but that's up to council, not up to me anymore.
I was going to say here, I'll
Just
pull up.
do it their direction. I think we need to actually have a cost for both.
Yeah.
Not only asphalt but gravel, and say, guys, okay, look it, because if you got to look at what they're saying right now is they're already backing down on doing the playground on the basketball court now because they don't want to spend the money. I can't imagine them coming up and saying, okay, we get this grant this year, and they got to spend money on that again,
Right.
to get the path in. So that's my nervousness about it.
Well, this is the application. You can see what I got up here, right?
Yeah, I can. Yep.
I was going to see if there's a cross section in here before we finish up. Just that'd be easy to be able to pull out and give to you. I'd like to think that there's got to be a way to search this. I'm going to go through word by word. Huh. There it is.
You don't see a search.
Standard rates, value standard. There's the accessibility. So I don't know if that's going to have the width.
Nah, it's probably just going to have.
It might be the state transportation plan where they outline those. The last one we did, we went to 10 because it scored a lot higher when we were doing our internal review. So we try to see how they're going to score their national standards. No. That's still the accessibility. ODOT. No. I thought there was an exhibit that they included in here. Environmental. Well, I may have to do some digging because I'm not seeing it. Usually they stand right out as an exhibit or something showing what they're looking at. Appraisals. And those are all appraisals. Well, I'll do some digging on that. I'll see if I can find you an exhibit for. I would think it's a stone base. I know. I thought they had 6 inches.
Yeah, it'll always be. Yeah, it'll always be, and typically it'll be 6 inches, and then you usually will either put in typically you'll just end up putting a 1.5 inch top coat on it.
Okay. Well, I'll see if.
I know. I literally just got that quote today that it was $100.70 a ton.
Okay.
Is what asphalt is today, because I literally just had a quote on it today.
Okay.
So and I was looking for one to have a good number on.
All right. Well, I'll track down what I was thinking of. I know it's around there somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, these are all federal. That's federal department. What that is.
Yeah, on my drawings, I only show it as 8 feet right now. So.
Okay. Yeah,
and that's the only thing I think we need to figure out is that, on my drawings too, is I'm showing the basketball court in a different spot if we want to move it, before you send that out or not. So that's a discussion with them. I don't, I understand some of it, but then the only thing I don't like about it is that the little basketball court is now all the way hidden in the corner instead of being near the rest of the playground. So it makes it harder for parents to sit in one spot and watch their kids.
You're talking about here.
You see there how you see how the little kids. I purposely put it that way so the little kids basketball court on the end there is by the swing sets and the playground. So mom and dad can sit at the pavilion. Mom and dad can sit at the pavilion and actually still watch them.
Yep.
If we take that and swing it around the corner, it's going to be harder for them to watch. But
would detaching the kids portion and putting it over by the playground or something, would that be a bad move?
I mean, we could leave it. Well, you could leave it right where it's at and just move the big basketball court over if you want.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter.
Right.
Keeping it together just makes it cheaper and easier for them to put it in. I mean, they don't have to do it twice. But
sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't think it's not like that's the end of the world. you know,
Right.
the end of the world doing it. So.
All right. I'll keep digging. I know that trail standard, there's different ones, and it lists with the standard what users you can have on the trail. So I know I can track it down here somewhere, but I'll get that over to you. And if that's something we can seek some quotes, I'm pulling the final stuff on that together. I'd like to have it for the council meeting on the 14th. Cost
Yep.
cost was one of them, but I need to get the exhibits updated so I can get those incorporated into it too. I think I pulled all the deeds.
Yep.
Which we had originally for the other grants. So I think we're pretty well set. I just threw out to them if there were other things we wanted to include, because usually when they award these things, they're up to 150,000. So I didn't want to go at it and then find out we were going to have a few years before we get another one. If there was another.
What did you say? 150,000.
Yeah, typically the
You said 100.
Yeah, 150,000 is typically what the recreational trails the grant will go for. But
So we need to go for. So that's what we're going for.
No, that's the max. So,
the max.
yeah, but I'm just saying generally, they like awarding a little bit bigger project because there is a lot of paperwork involved. So, I know on their side, we don't want to go too minimal. But like I said, the $45,000 paper is probably not.
That's and that's something that maybe council needs to look at if they want to increase that. That deal is do we take that trail here? Give me control back here.
Yeah, you got it.
Flip me back. Yeah, flip me back to my PDF.
Oh, gotcha. All right. Check that. Go for it.
Yep. Go back to the other one. Oh, here it is. I got it.
Okay.
I mean, maybe that's where we need to look at. Does the trail that goes around? Do we bring it up the driveway and start running it down the road?
Right, because that's part of the bigger Twin Ohio one, right?
Right. I mean, if that's what you're talking about doing, is do we want a trail because we own all this property all the way out to State Street?
Yep.
I mean, heck, technically we own it clear to the end of town there.
Right. So
we own all that till the end of town. I mean, we could take it to there and stop it just short of the bridge.
Yeah.
And the bridge can come in later and get your money up for that, because realistically at $150,000 that's only $30,000 and an 80-20 split.
Yep.
Yep. So if they want to do it that way, then that at least gets a start to that end of town.
And we still have the Clean Ohio grant, which we can apply for. They're both the same application. Here, I'll show you real quick what I got. So that form we were looking at a minute ago, this go back to this. This is the one in the same application. So if we're doing recreational trails, those are typically loops, like what we're doing a perimeter trail for the park. And then when you get into the Clean Ohio grant, that's going to be more for point A to point B. So in Clean Ohio is 75-25, but those typically they award for something like the railroad bed. So if we were going to do a portion of the railroad bed, I would apply for that under the same application, but we could put that in as part of the the Clean Ohio. I think our funding opportunity would be a lot higher there, because the 80-20 for the recreational trails is one, but the 75-25, if we're putting that in there too, that actually makes that makes it stand out quite a bit more. And these are the types of things that they can use for funding too. So that, yeah. But
if we apply for a grant now and get a trails grant today, can we apply next year for a different one?
We can.
Or is it, or you know what I mean? So let's just say, it's a 2-year grant, so we get that one done. Can we turn around after that 2 years, apply for another one?
We can. There's just no guarantee that every year that application is going to be out there. Right now, the Land and Water that we got for the pavilion, they canceled offering it here in the spring. So they're not putting that back out there yet for people to, because there's the Land and Water didn't get the funding that they wanted from government. So we can. It's just whether or not the same amount's going to be available, and if there's there's a better way for us to reach out for it.
Okay. Well, because what I was talking about is because, if you go over where the sanitary pump station is and stuff like that, you go over to there. I mean, there's a whole area there where the old comprehensive plan was all reserved for recreation.
Right.
and that was where you could get another loop in,
Yep.
and you could tie the two together and have another loop over there in the low area near the river,
Yep.
So it's just a matter of what.
I like
what I'm saying is if you're better off to file for $150,000 now,
yep.
and go 80/20, and then turn around and go for $50,000 now, and then try to do it after you get that 50 and go for another $50,000 later.
Yeah, I think it'd be better going all at once. That way they see the local
one all at once.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd almost be better off to delay a year.
Yep.
In order to make it happen, if you do it all at once rather than doing it all at, because realistically, even if you get awarded this year, you'll get 2 years to build it, I assume.
Right. Exactly.
So I mean, I guess you would just put yourself in succession. You would do the pavilion area this year, the basketball court next year, and then the third year you do the trail.
Okay. Yep.
That's how you would have to do it, because you can't push the basketball court off. I would prefer to do the trail before the basketball court, but you can't do that because you already got approval of that one. It'll expire if you don't take care of it first.
Right. Well, if we do apply for trail, get awarded in this year, and we did push the basketball court off, both those paving projects could happen next year if that's something that would save us money on the paving side too. I don't know.
There'll be two different people. There'll be two different people that'll do them.
Okay.
I don't think your basketball person is going to be doing that. The basketball people you're going to hire to do the basketball court are going to be basketball people.
Yeah.
I don't know that they'll do, if they will do the at the same time.
Yeah, because the cross section of the basketball court is a lot different, right?
Well, it's a little different equipment. They're bringing in that, and they're bringing in the sealers. They're bringing in a lot different stuff.
Sure.
Than just doing that. I mean, it's different equipment, because there's a special machine that they'll bring in. Well, it depends. If you're going to go asphalt, then it's just an asphalt machine and a stone. They'll just pull the stone in and do that. But if you do the stone and the crushed limestone, there's actually a machine. And what you end up doing is you end up filling up. It's how they spread it on dirt on a infield for a baseball field and stuff. You put stuff in, and then it vibrates it out. And then what you do is you just make trips around. You just don't go throw 3 inches down and walk away. You make layers, and it compacts the layers as you go around. You might run 3 or 4 times around,
I like that. Well, if we I'm still caught on the idea that I need to get this cross section for you, but if we can put together a quote for council, I'd like for them to look at the asphalt versus gravel if we're going to apply this year. If you think it's something that we should hold off until next year, I don't have a problem with that. Typically, the grant deadline's in February, so the fact they pushed it back this year's given us a little extra time, but it may be that going to next year may not be a bad deal.
Oh, I'll reply with it's not my call.
Well, yeah. At the end of the day, though, as far as cost estimates and stuff, you're going to know better than me as far as what's going to.
Yeah. No, exactly. No, I think we try to get that done for him. And then if I can have a cross section on it, I can do that and say, hey, look, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to put a cost estimate together for this, and get that real quick. But it's delaying it and what they want to do. That's their deal. I'm not part of that anymore.
Okay. Well,
that's for Terry and Howard to figure out. Same way with putting a $40,000 piece of equipment on there.
Yeah, I understand. Well, I'll pull together the cross section and shoot that to you, and if you don't mind getting somebody at least just to look at it and say, hey, this is how many feet we got, so this will be our number.
I can do that, and I can tell them, hey, this is what I'm looking to do, and if they can just give me a per foot cost.
Perfect. And I'll I would think that, we got it pretty well put together if we want to, there you go. That's it. Trail classifications. Did I talk about it? Ah, come on. There's got to be a statewide trail. Okay, so maybe it was DeQueen, Ohio, and that's why we ended up running into the standard for cross section. Because I'm not seeing anything in here that lays out a standard for them. I just know that to get a Clean Ohio grant, typically they want it to be identified on the statewide plan, which I see if there's even one on here. if there is, it should be Union County's trail plan. But we can always.
Well, there is, but I don't know that that's approved yet or anything along that line. And that's that point-to-point one. And the point-to-point one on the railroad track bed, that's where you would say, hey, they're doing it. Union County plan has this. We want to do this, but
Right.
And that's where and that would just be our decision. Do you stop it at State Street so that way you can use the excuse, hey, we'll take it to State Street, and that ties in our sidewalks to our park, and so forth. And then when they come in with the Union County, they can connect it from State Street across the bridge, a bridge across, and
Sure.
and all that kind of stuff. And there's the other thing. If they want to do $150,000, we could, we can put a bridge in too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bridge
that would
across
be,
there bridge would cost them probably about $60,000 across the river.
Well, that was honestly some of my worry in us waiting, was that I think we may see the county step forward and do a submittal, and I definitely think their submittal, if it isn't a portion in the village, there is probably going to trump. But it'd be nice to see the villages done in advance, so the county's making kind of cross connections to it. And I know that they said they aren't ready to submit one this year, which made me think it was kind of a good year for us to jump on it. But
right. Yeah, I know. I agree with that. It's the point-to-point one, I don't know.
Right.
I think it would just be nice because we could do a point-to-point one and connect to the new park. That at least ties together.
Well, I'll do some digging. I'll try to get you the cross sections, and we'll
okay.
plan on next week. I'll get you got the linear footage, but I can give you that too for the trail. Even if we get kind of ballpark numbers, I think that's going to give a lot better idea to them as far as whether they want to see and going to support that 20% match for next year, or if they want to hold off. Because I agree with you. If
that works.
It'd be better to do it the year prior than 3 years prior and be pushing.
Right. Exactly.
Cool.
So.
All right.
Okay.
Well, good deal. Let me know on the electrician side. I'll pull up some electricians and start working on that. But if there's other stuff I can help with on that end, let me know.
I think that's it for that part right now. I will send you also the contacts for the basketball court, and I'll let you run that through.
Okay, perfect.
Because you'll have the drawings. Monday I'll get you the drawings of everything, so you'll have everything that'll be up to date and what we submitted to the building permit and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And you'll have that, and you can send that off to the basketball people. I would say go ahead and have them quote a basketball hoop and everything, and find out what it is, and we can decide whether we're going to do it on our own or not. And
sure.
That at least gets us a price, and then I'll send you the spreadsheet I got working here of partial items that I think we need to figure out what they're going to cost us and all that kind of stuff. So.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Chris.
All right. No problem. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
Bye.